Hello everyone and welcome to UnJustified, where we always cover the truth, the facts, the good, the bad, the ugly, on an unbiased and sometimes very unpopular opinion. Hope this finds everybody doing well and great and wonderful today, and I hope your December has started off to an amazing start. So far, ours has went off to a very good start, and very cold though. It's been very cold here in Alabama. In the low 30s, even into the 20s, so that's highly unusual for here. But this is a video that I have really kind of threw up in the air and very hesitant to where, do I even want to make it? You know, I'm still not even sure that I need to be even making this, but since I did promise in my last discovery read through that I was going to do this, then I'm going to do it. I have spent literally the last almost 48 hours researching and getting things together to put into this video for you guys, because you know, anytime that I say anything, I like to be able to show you why I'm saying it. You know, I don't want to just throw anything out there and assume anything, you know. And before I even get started onto this, let me be absolutely clear when I say this. In no way am I saying that what I'm going to show you here is any sort of absolutely, this is what happened, I broke the case, I know why this happened or that happened, and that's the way it is. And no, I'm not doing that. But there's been lots of questions as to why this part of this case even was in existence, period. And I thought on it a lot, and I talked to my husband about it. And so as we go through the video, I'm going to tell you, you know, where and why I thought possibly the reason I had this. I don't even want to call it a theory. It's a thought. It is a thought and a possibility. You know, it's maybe a 10, 15, 20% possibility. Who knows, right? But I'm going to throw it out there anyway, just because I did tell you guys I would. And I've spent way too much time researching and getting things together to put into this video so you will understand why I had these thoughts. But because of all the time I've already spent researching it, and also because I told you I would do it, here it is. So take it for what you will, but for whatever you do, this is just for, I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it entertainment, because it's not really entertaining in my eye. It's food for thought. Let's call it that. Okay, food for thought. So here is what we're going to be discussing. Okay, guys. Now I know you've all saw this video footage 10 million times. I know you have. And this little part of it right here is, I've just kind of went back to the same part over and over while I played this little clip of the interview where he was being asked about what he was doing with this gas can. Now, I'm going to play this little clip and let you listen to the interview. Then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about it a second. Because what good reason did he have to be so damn interested in this gas can that morning? And the reason I kept replaying the same little part with the gas can here in this video, as you will see while that part of the interview is being talked about, you can see he brings it out there and he's going to put it in his truck, and he's like, I don't know what it is, but it's like it won't, either there's nowhere to put it in that side of the truck, and so you can see that he starts to take it back into the garage, and then he's like, no, I better keep it. And so he turns around and then he goes back to the front of the truck, and I can't see from that point because, of course, the tree is in the way, the wonderful tree that I wish had been cut down the week before all this. Anyway, you can't really see when he walks to the front of the truck with the gas can. He could be looking inside the cab of the truck to see if there's somewhere in there to set it. Who knows? But then you'll see him come back around to the other side and set it in the back of the truck on the other side of the truck. But you can see that he is determined that he's got to have this gas can. When he can't find anywhere to set it, the first time when he tries to set it on this side of the truck, on the back, the tailgate, and nowhere to put it, it's like he's like, well, I'll just take it back. And he's like, no, I think I'm going to need this. So anyway, listen to this little part of this interview and watch how he is doing with this gas can. Like, he's got to have it kind of thing, and he can't take it back in there. And you will see he is bringing this gas can out of the garage. So it wasn't already in the back of his truck. It was in his garage. So anyway, listen to this part, because what he's saying here and why he needed this gas can, I think, is completely ridiculous. But we'll talk about that after you hear this.
I saw on the video that you put a gas can or something in the back of your truck. Is that right? Did you have different plans when you put that in there?
I don't know what was going through my head. I felt like maybe I could just get rid of myself at the same time if I was doing all this, honestly.
Yeah.
Did you think about that?
What'd you think about that?
I felt like I deserved to live after what had happened.
Was there any thought to the whole family going away that day, to include you?
After everything happened, that's the definite thought.
Yeah. See, it's interesting to me. We had all kind of wondered if there was a point when you were all together and if you were all going to pass together. That to me makes sense, because that's, even though it sounds crazy, that's what a family man does, right?
Family man doesn't do what he did.
No, I know. I guess what I mean is, it seems like you guys were going to be together forever in that way. Is that maybe what was going through your head?
Honestly, I just felt like I deserved to live.
Yeah.
And it was like, whatever judgment I was going to come upon myself, I just didn't deserve to be on this earth anymore. Mm-hmm. What happened?
Okay.
So what made you not do that, do you think?
I don't know if it was just more of like a, because with the site, maybe it was just more of like, I would have hurt more people than just me and everybody else. Like, I know there's other people out there, not like at the site, but other people like maybe out in the area. Like, I didn't want something like on the site to catch fire and blow up, and then other people around would get hurt in the same.
So you were thinking initially about starting a fire out there, or an explosion or something, or?
Just, no, not for that. Just like maybe I could just take care of myself and not have been dead.
Wow.
You want gasoline? That's the only thing you do. I mean, I don't have a gun. I don't have anything like that. It's not like you can just commit suicide that way. But
So
it's
just
like,
to blow yourself up?
I mean, it was just, I wasn't thinking.
And it's also very obvious that there was absolutely gas in the can, because watch, when he goes to lift it, you can tell that it's not an empty can. There's something in it, because you can tell by the way he's pulling it up. I'm going to play it one more time. It's like he almost used both hands to pull it up. So what was so important that he had to have that gas can with him that day? There's definitely something in it, because it's a little heavy to lift up. And when he couldn't get it in that side, he starts to put it back, and he's like, no, I better keep it. And you can't see there if he's maybe looking in the cab to see if there's somewhere to put it. And when he sees there's not, he just takes it on around and puts it in the other side. So obviously, he absolutely wanted this gas can with him and whatever's in it when he left, correct? I mean, I don't know how else you could look at that. He takes it out of his house, brings it, and was going to bring it back to his house, decides, no, I'm going to have this. So yeah, there's definitely something with this gas can. I personally do not think for 5 seconds that he had any intention of taking his own life. That's me. You may think he does, but I don't think he did. Period. I think that there was something else with this gas can, because you would know that morning he would be in a frenzy, right? He's going to be in a hurry. He's going to be in a hurry to get the hell out of there because he already knows this camera is watching him. He knows this. So he's taking these extra steps and extra time with the gas can. So what is so important with this gas can? And it's and just to be honest, it doesn't matter now, really. It's not going to change any fact, really. But it is one of those pieces of the puzzle of why. What's the deal with the gas can? And there's so many different things out there. And you know what, my husband, you know what he said to begin with? He said, well, he's probably just going to pick up some gas on the way home and mow his grass when he gets home. Yeah, that would be a good possibility. Any other morning. I highly doubt this morning him mowing his grass that afternoon was of any concern. And the way he's lifting that can up, you can tell it already has something in it. It's heavy. Even when he takes it back down, you can see it kind of pull him. So whatever's in this is it's there. There's already something in it. So no, I do not buy he is going to mow his grass this afternoon. There's no other reason he would need a gas can with him to go to work that morning, right? So, after thinking on this and watching the video and seeing that he definitely brought it out of his house and it, in my opinion, already had something in it, wasn't an empty gas can. What's the deal with it? Well, here is the only possibility that I personally could come up with. So, I've got 400 tabs open, and that's kind of a bit of an exaggeration, but you know me, I like to show you where, what, and why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. So, for starters, let's take a look at the truck itself. Okay, this is the listing of Chris's truck when it was for sale. It was being sold by Salvage Now, the salvage market maker. And this is the listing for Chris's truck. And let's go over some specs of his truck. And let me say, to begin with, my husband has this exact truck, except his is white. 2015, it's the same truck, except his is white. And let me tell you, I hate those doors. I call his truck the DeLorean because it's like if somebody's in the back seat, you have to open it up like a spaceship in them doors, and you have to have 2 parking places, really, to swing out all 4 of those doors. For anyone to get out of the back seat, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so here is his truck. It's a 2015 Ford F-250. And that's the VIN number. It's a V8 FFV transmission. That's the color of the exterior, and it's called Metallic Caribou. I've heard it called silver, gray, brown. It's Metallic Caribou. The interior, and then it's a pickup truck, full size. It's got a clean title, and that was the miles that was on it when Chris got finished with it. Colorado, and the seller is a fleet and lease company. Yes, Chris was leasing the truck. Okay, so let's take a picture, or let's take a look at the photos. Okay, this first one here is still going to be dirty, right? They haven't cleaned it up and made it all pretty for when the seller wants to look at it. So this is pretty much how it looked the morning that we just watched in the video. And this is the inside of it. And I've done a video before. And as you see, it's all dirty and messy. Of course, they do clean it up before they sell it. And I guess, you know, I mean, probably most of the roads where he went to work was very dusty. I know I've saw the road to Surrey 319 many times, and it's a very dusty, long, windy road, so very dirty. And that looks like actually ice. Maybe, I don't know. And just looking at that back seat's a bit creepy, knowing what he said happened back there. And this looks like they've got it cleaned up now. Yeah, it's been had a bath. Looks like it's had a bath and detailed at that point. No, that's probably more like wax. Yeah, they're waxing it or washing it or something. But anyway, there is your pictures of the truck. And then there's just some specs on it. I find it interesting that they didn't mention there was any sort of history surrounding it. Okay, here is an important part. The engine. A V8 FFV. Do you know what that means? It is a flex fuel vehicle, meaning it can use any fuel. And not a lot of vehicles are, mine's not like that. Not a lot of vehicles are like that. And of course my husband's is, but most people, or a lot of people that have the FFV vehicles will actually use the E85 ethanol. E85 ethanol means 85% alcohol, only 15% gas. For one, it's cheaper, much cheaper fuel. Two, it's much safer for the environment because it's mostly alcohol, corn, and sugarcane. It's very dangerous if inhaled or gotten on the skin. It causes some massive fires that doesn't even have flames. Flameless fires. You can't see it. If it is burning in a vehicle and you happen to smell the exhaust off of it, it doesn't smell like regular exhaust. It smells sweet, almost like corn, sweet corn, or like a wine, because it's 85% alcohol. E85 ethanol, 85%. Now, let's get into that a little more. Here is the sticker from the truck as well. And as you see, the fuel it takes is gasoline ethanol. It's a 2015 FFV, flex fuel vehicle. And many of you may have this vehicle. And if you do, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of the great things about having an FFV vehicle is it's cheaper. Like I was just saying, it says it saves the average American family about $1,200 a year. It's a natural octane enhancer and it makes engine perform better. It burns more efficiently. The tailpipe emissions that is released into the air makes better air quality. And that's where the climate change and the Earth Day people and, you know, all that is so into this kind of fuel. It's American made, so it makes American jobs. Because the U.S. only produces less than 10 million barrels of crude a day, but it consumes 19 million. So the difference must be imported. This is just straight off of the Wikipedia, and 85% ethanol and 15% gasoline. And as you see, the weight of a gallon is just a little over 6.5 pounds. Well, just supposing that could be what Chris had in that can that morning. Well, that looked like a 5-gallon gas can to me. And so if it was full, then, you know, 5 times 6.5 you're talking about 30-something pounds, which would, would put a little bit up there. It's not that heavy, but at the same time, 30-something pounds, and that being a 4x4 pickup, it might be a little hard to, not hard, but a little, it's not going to be like it's empty, right? And then when he took it back down, you could tell it went down. So there was something in it. Even if there was only 3 gallons in it, you're still talking, 16, 17 pounds, right? Something like that. So anyway, and I'm not sure if I have that in one of these tabs up here. I may. I'm just going down them one by one. But I did look in Frederick, Colorado, and to see the E85 fueling stations, because they're not the same. They do look different. And there's a bunch. There's many in Colorado, and there's many in Frederick, and there was several many, just all over. So yeah, there would be no issue. So I can assure you that is what fuel he did put in that vehicle. And here is that map. So yeah, as you see, it is here. And the E85 stations, they're there. They're just there. It says right here, in Colorado, you will find 52 local gas stations in 33 cities that you can fill up your flex fuel vehicle with E85 ethanol. And so, yeah, they're there. It's not a problem to find it there. And this is just a little bit of specs on it. It says E85 is a fuel that may contain up to 85% fuel ethanol. The ethanol content of most of the motor gasoline sold in the United States does not exceed 10% by volume. Most motor gasoline with more than 10% fuel ethanol content is sold in the Midwest, where most ethanol production capacity is located. Okay, what is ethanol? Ethanol is a fuel created from the distillation of sugar. The fuel comes from renewable sources such as corn and sugarcane. This fuel has certain advantage attributes that make it popular fuel for performance and racing. Currently, NASCAR uses a race gasoline mixed with 15% ethanol, and the IndyCar Series racers that initially switched from methanol to E98 subsequently converted to E85 in 2012. Imagine that. Anytime you see gasoline with an E prefix, it indicates the fuel contains a given percentage of ethanol. So, E10 would contain 10% ethanol. E30 is 30% ethanol, and so on. This makes E85 a fuel with 85% ethanol and only 15% gasoline. So, that's very interesting to know. That is that it is widely known in NASCAR and racing. This is actually a photo of the ethanol car, drag racing car. It says Indy cars prior to 2006 used methanol, converted for a short time to E98, but they now run E85. And this is just a little article in autoweek.com where they were talking about it being so eco-friendly. It is an alternative to petroleum. It's so much better for the earth. Eco-friendly people, environmental people, and geologists all highly recommend flex fuel vehicles. As of right now, there's not that many filling stations that do sell the E85. Most of them is in the West, but Colorado has plenty. But in any event, if that is possibly what Chris has in this gas can, if he possibly does have E85 ethanol in this gas can, then what was he doing with it? Because you're not going to put it in a lawnmower. It would have to be for his truck. So maybe when he was filling his truck up, he just put some in a gas can at some point and took it home and put it inside his garage. But why would he do that? I mean, did he ever plan to maybe run out of fuel sitting in his driveway? Or because you're not going to run that in a lawnmower, as I say. So why else would he need that if that's what's in that can? Because I'm fully convinced there's something in it the way he was having that hard time picking it up and putting it up over the truck. So why would he need that? And why was he so adamant about taking it with him? Plus, E85 can actually ignite if the temperature gets over like 50, 60 degrees, because you're talking about 85% alcohol. It can ignite. So you have to have proper storage for this. And it has what's called flash point. And as you can see here, and this is firehouse.com, and this is all about fires and how to properly store things and gasolines and fuels and things like that. And it has the boiling point, it has the flash point, it has upper explosive limits, lower explosive limits. I mean, in order to store it, one has to really have knowledge and some very good homework done on this. See, the boiling point over 70 degrees or higher than gasoline, meaning that as the temperature increases, gasoline will convert to vapor more rapidly. Vapor is more flammable than a liquid. In this category, gasoline is more volatile than flammable or flammable substance. Very interesting. I'm obviously no scientist. I definitely don't know anything about this kind of stuff, but this I have found in my research. I'm also going to put the links to what I found in the description box in case you want to come and read all this, because I'm just not going to sit and read all this. And I know you get the point, but it is going to be down there in case you do want to come and look at this for yourself. It's very interesting, to say the least, if you're in this kind of thing. Me, I was just doing some research about what is up with that gas can, right? And the only conclusion I could come up with was this, but you have to have some very good training in this E85 to store it. He obviously had whatever was in that can stored in his home. Very dangerous, to say the least, if you don't know what you're doing. Well, Chris's school teacher did say that he had a photographic memory, and he did say that he knew everything about NASCAR, about mechanics. It's like he knew it chapter and verse. He did make that statement, and
he wanted to go to NASCAR Tech. We made that possible for him.
What did he do after he finished school?
He worked at the dealership as a service technician and was making good money and loved it. He bought a toolbox and he started buying his tools. Enjoyed it.
But would Chris know about these flash points and boiling points and all this explosion points and all that? I mean, how would he know how to make sure, if that's what's in there, he was storing this properly? Okay, this is page 1922 of the Discovery. And this is August the 12th. And on August the 12th, I want you to look at this one part at 1844 hours, which is 6:44 p.m. August the 12th. Right here, 1844 hours, 6:44 p.m. He took a photo and documented the temperature setting in the refrigerator in the basement. 3 minutes later, he took a photo of 4 chicken breasts on a barbecue grill as well. 3 minutes after he took the photo of the refrigerator temperature. So it has to be stored in very, controlled atmospheres. Pure ethanol has a flash point of 55 Fahrenheit, 13 Celsius. So see, it's not pure ethanol, the E85 isn't, but it's pretty damn close, 85%. It will release vapors into the atmosphere, creating a flammable environment. Temperature-controlled chemical storage buildings will prevent excess evaporation. So it has to be temperature-controlled where it is kept. Ethanol also tends to absorb water from the surrounding environment. Stored in dry areas with low humidity, it will absorb any condensation that forms inside the storage vessel. And then it goes on to say that OSHA has requirements for storing it. You have to store it at a distance at 10 feet or less from an occupied building. It's just very special ways you have to store it. And it does have to be temperature-controlled storage building. It says refrigerated chemical storage building. Keep temperatures constant at 40. Freezer units can even control storage temperatures down to 20 below. So it's really a big deal. It really is. And remember, I'm going to put all these links in the description box if you want to come and look at them yourself. But there's always been a question of why the picture of the temperature on the refrigerator. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just trying to loosely put 1 and 1 and 2 and 2 together and possibly come up with a thought. And I'm not saying that this is what it is, so please understand this. But this is just kind of like a jigsaw puzzle to me. And it kind of goes with possibly the gas can, but who knows. And where is another place that we did see the word ethanol in a very large number in the discovery, the toxicology report that we just read last night. 128.128. That is very large, a very big number. And as I said last night, it was explained away by Rourke.
This afternoon, with the cooperation of the Weld County Coroner, the autopsy reports are available and become a public document. There are a few things that I want to talk about that you will see that are contained within those autopsy reports. I'm going to be very general at this point. I hope you understand, out of respect for the Rusick family who is still present. Part of the reason that we kept these sealed were for the following reasons. You will see in the autopsy report of Shanann Watts that forensic toxicology testing indicated that in spleen blood there was a blood alcohol level of 0.128. I want to be abundantly and very, very clear about this. This does not mean that she consumed alcohol, nor that she was intoxicated. We have consulted with the Weld County Coroner's Office. We have conducted with the forensic experts at the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. To a person, they have all indicated to us that that blood alcohol level is very, very consistent with normal human decomposition based upon the location and the manner that Shanann and Nico's bodies were buried. Secondly, you will see in the autopsy reports of Bella and Celeste a number of different substances, I think is probably the way, Mr. Blesh, that I want to address those. We have had those examined by both expert chemists as well as the coroner's office because we wanted to make sure that all of those substances could be attributed to the crude oil and the water that their bodies were found in and nothing more. The forensic experts confirmed for us that all of the substances found in those toxicology reports are consistent with being submerged in unrefined crude oil. Mr. Blesh, any other comments you want to make about that at this point?
Covered it well, sir.
Thank you.
This is Bella's, and she had 13 in her little system, ethanol. And then Celeste was 31. There was a comment on her ethanol. It says the concentration of the ethanol increased from 99 to 174 over the course of multiple analysis. The nature of the specimen and or the container type, which may not contain preservatives, may explain the variable quantitative results. Well, hers was originally 31, when it should have been 0, really.
Why do you think she wasn't fighting?
Maybe she was praying. Maybe she was just. I read the Bible. It said, where the scripture says, "Don't forgive these people, for they do not know what they do."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was saying that. I don't know what she was saying in her head, but she, like when you guys told me, like, take off your shirt and check for defensive wounds, and there wasn't going to be any. She didn't fight. I don't know why.
So she wasn't fighting. Well, even her dad and her brother and everyone said that's definitely not like Shanann. She was very feisty. She would have definitely fought. I know she was tired. I know she was pregnant. I know she was feeling defeated, depressed, but it is just natural reflex. She would have fought back. I fully believe that. Why didn't she fight back? In the event there was ethanol in that, the E85 fuel in that can, and I'm not saying it was, I'm just saying in the event, and in the event somehow she came in contact with that fuel. This is some of the things that could happen coming in contact with E85 ethanol. If it is ingested in ethanol, it can cause dizziness, faintness, drowsiness, decreased awareness and responsiveness, euphoria, abdominal discomfort, nausea, vomiting, staggering gait, lack of coordination, and even coma. Aspiration in the lung may occur, and it can cause severe lung damage, of course. If it is inhaled, the high vapor concentrations can cause burning sensation in the throat and nose, stinging and watering in the eyes. At concentrations, it can cause irritation, dizziness, faintness, drowsiness, nausea, and vomiting. There was vomit on the catwalk thing where the girls were put into the tanks or the batteries. There was vomit there. Nobody knows whose vomit it was. To my knowledge, there was never any DNA done, but there was vomit there. And all of you know that, and the ones of you that don't, it definitely was there. The eyes, if you will remember, also in that interview they did with him at the prison, he continued, and he said it a few times, that all he can remember is seeing the mascara run down her face. He said she was crying, but in the event she did come in contact with this fuel for any reason, it would have caused the eyes to water and hurt. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying she did, I'm just saying that is a possibility. There is something with that gas can, y'all, period. And the whole autopsy and everything about it, and there's so much questions even surrounding the toxicology and the autopsy reports, and this is just one of the many, many articles, and this is on apnews.com. Again, I will have the link in the description box because I'm just going to skim over this with you to show you what I mean. This is just one of the very many links online you will see that has so many questionable things about the autopsy and toxicology. One of the things a lot of people can't really take it in very well is it says the exact date of death is undeterminable due to the conditions of the bodies. Shanann was in the shallow grave and the girls were in separate batteries. Okay, here's the thing. We know in many autopsies, under terrible circumstances as well, maybe not as terrible as the kids, all of them's bad, right? But they get very close on determining time of death, from the vegetation around them, from just many, many different things. Well, she went missing on the 13th, and they were found by the 16th. So that's you would think they could narrow it down a little bit better from the autopsy and the vegetation around them and things like that than just to put on the autopsy findings that they were pronounced dead when they found them. I mean, that just, it seems like they could get a little closer. But no, it's just the exact date is undetermined. So they just found on the 16th, then they pronounced them dead on the 16th, which I too found that not cool. And then the article goes on to talk about the blood alcohol concentrate level at 128, and if it's not a big deal, then why is all the articles and news and everything just continue to bring that up? Because that is a high concentrate of ethanol in the system when she obviously was not drinking. Also, it shows many in Bella and Celeste, and they said it was likely as a result of being placed in the oil tank batteries. Likely. Not definitely, but likely. And then it says Celeste contained measure amounts of butanol and ethanol. Propanol were also present. So it's like Celeste and Bella had different things in their system. And it looks like they would have had the same things, correct? And they would have had close to the same ethanol because he said he done what he did to them basically about the same time. And then it says Rourke, he asked a number of experts and medical examiners' offices, but he gives no names. He just said just a number of them. And all of them concluded it was the result of the girls being in the oil tank batteries for days. Bella's stomach contained 75 milliliters of green-black fluid. Well, it would have been nice if that fluid could have been analyzed to actually know what it was, but they just assumed it was likely from the oil tank she was placed in. There's a bunch of likely, probably, possibly, but there's no for sure. Also, of course, the cause of death for Bella was asphyxiation due to smothering. It says she likely fought for her life because of the laceration on her upper gum and frenulum, as well as the bite wounds on her tongue. But then with Celeste, it was likely, again, likely asphyxiation due to smothering. There was no evidence of any struggle or mention of any signs of the spots on her head that she was ever, like, really in any trauma, right? So say these autopsies and toxicology reports, they've been a big questionable thing. The ethanol, all the things in the girls' systems, the difference, the stuff in Bella's belly, Celeste had no, I mean, they were all different, yet they were supposedly the same. And this is an article, and it's very interesting if you would like to come and see it as well. It's on crimerocket.com. This is Nick's website. He's also a true crime analysis. Many people know him. He has a YouTube channel as well. He does some extensive research. He actually got a forensic investigator to look over this and give his opinion on this autopsy. And as you will see, it is on this page. He put it in its entirety, and you're welcome to come and read it. I'm not going to read it all because it's pretty lengthy. He starts with the case history, and he goes all the way through that. Diagnosis, asphyxiation due to strangulation. He even lays out a timeline all the way from the 12th. And the timeline, he has everything in there in order. And it's a very, very interesting article to come and look at, to say the very least. He gives all these different possibilities, if she would have been drinking, if she wasn't drinking. Yeah, I've already read it, and I will just say it is very interesting. His conclusion was, given the history of the unlikely digestion of alcohol prior to death, the 67 hours the body was exposed to temperature conditions, plus, to a lesser extent, the 36 hours after discovery till autopsy, and the evidence of bloating at autopsy, it is not only possible but highly likely that fermentation and thus post-mortem of alcohol could have taken place. There is no reason to exclude the possibility a level of 128 is a high BAC level, but the conditions would have been extremely suitable for the post-mortem of ethanol. And he put some additional notes in there about her lupus and probably what made her have the spontaneous birth due to the way she was laying, and it's just a very interesting article. I will put the link in the description box. It's very well worth the read, but it is a very long read, so yeah. But in this book, Chris explains at one point that he had already put his girls asleep permanently. Then he said, as he was taking care of Shanann, they woke back up. Now, that makes one wonder, were they just under? If they even want to believe that. Now, a lot of people doesn't even believe anything in this book, but for the ones that do, it makes one wonder, well, thanks drugged? I've even heard chloroform. Was it possibly, maybe, ethanol? I mean, just, I'm not saying it was, but was it possible? And it just kind of put them in a stupor, and then when it wore off, they woke up. This is in part one of the letters that Chris supposedly wrote to Sherilyn Cadle, and she either sold or gave it to Daily Mail, but at any rate, it says, wait on the way home, and then it says, gave them a shower, ate dinner, read bedtime stories, and sung bedtime songs, and still nothing registered. When Shanann had to be somewhere, I always enjoyed taking the girls places or playing outside because it was our opportunity to bond. And still, even the night before, I could not stop myself from what I knew would occur the next morning. 2. August 13th, morning of. I went to the girls' room first, before Shanann and I had our argument. I went to Bella's room, and then Cece's room, and I used a pillow from their bed. That's why the cause of death was smothering. After I left Cece's room, then I climbed back in bed with Shanann, and our argument ensued. After Shanann had passed, Bella and Cece woke back up. I'm not sure how they woke up, but they did. It makes the act that much worse, knowing I went to their rooms first, and knowing I still took their lives at that location. 3. The reason they found OxyContin in Shanann's system is because I gave it to her. I thought it would be easier to be with Nicole if Shanann was not pregnant. If the world knew all of that, I'm pretty sure a new petition would be started to have me put to death, or I would be killed in prison if I ever got transferred from this institution. So there you have it. I don't even know how this is going to be. I don't even know how this video is going to be put together. It's taken me a good 2-3 days now to get all of this in order and get it all put in here. So I hope in the ending it's going to make some sense. I tried to put everything and show points and reasons why I was thinking things. It makes you wonder, you know, with the gas can, and she didn't fight back, and all the way down to, if it's true, do the girls wake back up? Refrigerator temperature. It's just his truck being the flex fuel vehicle. What was the reason for the gas can? And as you see, when Chris got back home that evening, and the police were there and they were doing their walkthrough and everything, on the 13th, as you will see, the gas can is still sitting in the spot that we observed him putting it in that morning. So it's he didn't ditch it, you know, it's still there. And whether they looked at it and looked inside it to see what was inside it, I don't know. But the gas can he did bring back home. I don't know. Do you think it was going to blow up Servy? I don't know. Some people believe that, you know. I guess it's possible. Was he going to kill himself like he said? Well, people may believe that, and I guess that's possible. Any of the theories are possible, really, and that there's just another one. And tried to kind of put things together the way I was seeing them myself to think maybe it's a possibility, but who knows, right? Okay, guys, there's my look into the gas can scenario and why I have the thought that I do, that it could be ethanol in that can, and the reason he wanted to take it with him so badly is in the event that they woke up again, he would have it again. Did he use it on Shanann? I don't know. Who knows? He could have ambushed her when she walked in the door and put it over her face. Who knows? Who knows? She did have the mascara running, her eyes watering or crying, whichever it was. I don't know. Tell me your thought, guys. I put a theory, or I'm not going to call it a theory. I put an opinion out here, or a possibility out here about the gas can. And if you got nothing else off of this, nothing but maybe just a little bit of education on flex fuel vehicles and E85 ethanol gas or fuel, even if that's all you took out of this video, I hope you could take something away from it. Okay, you guys, until next time, I hope you have a great day, night, evening, wherever you may be. This is UnJustified.